Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show live. This is the live stream. So, welcome. Today, we're going to look at ChatGPT versus Jasper Chat. So, please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. It's always good to confirm that. I think that you probably can hear me because I can hear myself. So, that's always a good sign. But just give me a shout in the chat. Let me know where you're from. If it's your first time here, welcome. Really appreciate it. And like I said, we're going to look at ChatGPT. We're going to look at the Jasper Chat, which is in beta, which means there could be some bugs there. And I find this interesting. I mean, before I tried ChatGPT, one of my friends, John, one of the founders at originality.ai, that is an AI detector and plagiarism checker, he was like, yeah, I think some of these companies are in trouble with ChatGPT being so good and so usable. These other tools are maybe going to have some trouble. And I was like, interesting. When I fired up ChatGPT, started playing with it a little bit, I saw exactly what he meant. And the fact is, these tools are, they're trying to place a nice front end on top of the technical part of maybe ChatGPT, or more accurately on top of OpenAI's interface, where you can go to the playground and you could actually get similar functionality, which maybe we'll take a look at that too. I'm not sure if we'll have time today, but overall, the point is Jasper was probably scrambling, is my guess, trying to get something similar to the chat feature that ChatGPT brings into place. Of course, to my knowledge, this is all my conjecture, Jasper probably didn't have access. I'm almost certain they didn't have access to the newest, latest stuff that was on the other side of ChatGPT. So they couldn't get to, GPT 3.5 or whatever the technical thing is there. So, with that said, I think there could be some issues for some of these tools. They will also be able to access, my assumption is Jasper, other similar tools will be able to access the underlying technology, just like before, once ChatGPT is done with beta and the testing, they'll have to pay for it. Jasper, other tools will have to pay for the access to the APIs. But now all of us have gotten the taste for just accessing OpenAI, ChatGPT directly. And honestly, I don't know if there's much value in using a tool like Jasper. I mean, right now, I think we're probably going to see like the beta version of Jasper is not as good as ChatGPT because the technology behind it is not as good. So I ask you, would you pay for it? Like a huge markup for very little additional functionality. Now I'm an affiliate for Jasper, so I hope they don't watch this. They might. But I'm an affiliate for Jasper. I don't hang my hat on any affiliate program specifically because, well, that would be dangerous. But overall, I know some of my peers, they do make a lot of money from tools like Jasper or content at scale, or maybe fill in the blank, outranking. There's a shitload of these tools out there. The point being, if you're earning a lot of money from a tool like Jasper each month from reoccurring affiliate revenue, you have a specific incentive where they're fucking paying you money, right? So you have an incentive to say, well, this Jasper tool is fantastic. Now, I've learned to use it a lot better, and it's better than it was 6 months ago. But at the same time, it's like, if you're comparing it against something else, it's hard to give a very candid viewpoint if they're paying you $4,000 a month. In fact, some of the videos that I saw demoing ChatGPT, one of the other videos this lady made was how to, I think it was like how to earn, I'm going to mess it up, it's either 3 or 5 or some thousands of dollars. So it's like how to earn $5,000 a month from the Jasper affiliate program. And really, I mean, it fits her brand or whatever. I don't know. But side note, I have another. I put my other camera over there. If people watch the, what do you call it, the podcast, I have actually set up the other camera over there, so it does nothing for me specifically other than I could turn this way, and the lighting is a little bit different. It's a different lens, and you could see me in a different angle. So no point other than I have another camera, and I was like, what the hell? I'll set it up over there. And one of the things holding me back, I needed to get a USB extension cord because the cord that fits on the camera is like 3 feet long or something, and I needed to be farther away. So anyway, add another camera. These live streams are casual. We have DZ from Roswell, New Mexico. A lot of aliens there based on some documentaries that I've watched. We have Abdel Kabar. What's up? Good to see you. And our fine friend Adrian. Thanks a lot. One of the kind moderators that keeps order in the chat. And Who is Joe is on here too. So before we get into the straight up demo, couple quick announcements that we need to hit. One, if you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, please do it. If you're watching the replay later, leave a comment and hit the thumbs up. Actually, I haven't hit the thumbs up yet, so I did it myself. Now we have even more likes. And if you're able to leave a comment, that's great. It helps the algorithm understand that you dig these videos. So number one, you can get my free AI tools resources. It's actually behind a course platform because that was the easiest way for me to do this. It is free. It is a work in progress. It's kind of like my semi-organized raw notes that I'm keeping. So as I'm learning things and as I'm progressing with various prompts that I'm testing, I'll make updates there. There are a couple videos that I didn't publish on YouTube as well. So you can check it out, totally free. I'll also point out Originality AI. They have an AI detector and a plagiarism checker. I'm an affiliate for that. There is a free AI detector over at Content at Scale. So there's a couple links over there you might be interested in. Further, even more important, is we have a couple sponsors. One is Ezoic. I'll point out NicheIQ, and it's a tool for niche sites. It's made to help sites find topics and manage their pages specifically to grow quality visits and revenue from display ads, as built-in reporting and analytics so that you can measure the performance of your SEO efforts on the bottom line. You can also run experiments so that you can test and get the results on titles and descriptions in the search results. That way you know what's working best and you can optimize your titles and descriptions. So check out Ezoic, and you can join with no traffic minimum via the Access Now link. So you can just take a look there in the description. The other is Odys Global. So I'll switch cameras over here. So Odys Global, they have premium age domains. We're going to run an ad from them in a little while when I need to rest my voice. That time will come when I need to rest my voice. I think that camera's just a touch out of focus. I'm not sure where I need to move. Maybe a bit further back, a little further back, right here. That seems perfect. Okay. So sign up for the email list if you're into it. There's some other links in there. You can get a free trial over on Jasper if you want to check out their chat bot over there. And let's just start sharing. We'll jump right into it, see what's up. And we have a tick is here as well. So I'll start sharing my screen here. And this is where you could, sign up for the free resources. You just need to put in your name and your email address, and then I'll send you an email with a login information. So I've logged in hopefully over here on ChatGPT, which it looks like maybe it needs to resync. So I'll resubmit that. And while it's doing that, I already logged into Jasper, and they have, like I said, the beta version, the chat clearly noted as beta. I have a paid account here. I don't use it too often, but I was doing some testing, and I was like, I'll sign in, pop in. And they do give us some ideas of prompts that might be good. So create an image of, which I don't have the image thing, so I don't know if they could do that, but we'll test it out. Create a list of 10 blog post ideas about, write a paragraph about, help me create a short story, write a song, summarize the following, write a Facebook ad, write a blog post about. So there's a great sample. And I think what I'm going to do to not necessarily make this fair, again, I prefaced with Jasper is using, a different technology, different underlying like AI behind it versus ChatGPT. So in order to make it fair, I'm going to probably start with the prompts from Jasper. I'm going to take their lead and go with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to head to head, like one versus the other, and see what the output is, especially the follow-up questions. So that is, one issue that I had using Jasper early on. I was trying to get like sort of longer form content or even just like one paragraph, and it was sort of difficult to have follow-up updates. You had to like re-enter the command and get more outputs. You could add more details, that sort of thing, but generally you just had to do it again and get new outputs. Where ChatGPT in a chat bot like Jasper Chat beta will allow you to follow up and go from there. Now, the thing is, and I don't want to get too far into a rabbit hole, but basically, if you have an OpenAI account and you could use ChatGPT, which appears like I need to try to reload this really quick here. So if you have a ChatGPT OpenAI account, you can go over to the playground and essentially use a chat preloaded, I guess it's a preset is the right word. So it's a preset and it's the chat. And I ask you, I mean, what is the difference between Jasper Chat and the OpenAI chat feature? That I'm not sure. And they may be powered by the same thing, right? So the playground version chat is probably, it's GPT 3, probably DaVinci 3. So at that point, like, I'm not sure what the advantage is to use Jasper if you could just get the same thing for a fraction of the price over at OpenAI. So I'm going to have to relog in here to ChatGPT. And the thing is, there's a chance, unfortunately, that it could be bogged down, in which case we would head over to the playground because we need to adapt. So let me try to log in over here and give me 1 second. It's always fun to watch people log in. All right, let's give this a shot one more time. Like I said, might be a dead end, and then we'll just have to adapt. So, okay, this is fun. Basically, I've been doing some demos recently, and every single time that I've done a demo with ChatGPT, it's loaded. I know a lot of people are having like server issues. It says, hey, we're at capacity. Sometimes whatever you're loading in just sort of crashes out. There's a server error of some kind. I've only had an error happen like a handful of times. I've always been able to use ChatGPT and log in. Right now I'm having trouble logging in. So we're going to go to the playground and see how that works instead. Just because that's all we have, and I'll periodically check it to see what we need to do. So let's pop back over here and feel free to ask questions. I'll hit them as we go. So here we are in the playground. So I just logged into my normal OpenAI account. At least when I loaded or when I joined and created an account, I was credited $18, which goes a long way. Like the whole point of me talking about like what value Jasper has, Jasper is like a lot more expensive. So if you're using the raw API or the raw playground over here, it is much, much cheaper. I think it's something like gosh, we'll look at the pricing here. It's something like, let's go down here. So it is 2 cents for 1,000 tokens. 1,000 tokens is about 750 words. So I'm not sure the price exactly over on Jasper, but it's a lot more than that. I could tell you. So 750 words for 2 cents. Now, it doesn't mean all the 750 words are going to be perfect. There's a little waste involved, but there's waste involved in all of these. Okay. So once you get over to the playground, you can go over here and there's all these presets, and you may be, concerned about all these settings over here on the right side, but generally you can just take the default. Like, whatever is in here is probably the right thing for you to start from. You can go and learn what each one of these means. There's a pop-up that will tell you what it is and give you some suggested ranges, and you can go from there. But it's a preset for a reason. And my hunch, I don't know what they did at Jasper, but my hunch is they have some presets they put in here. And if I had to guess, it's probably pretty damn close to whatever the default is. And they're just plugging in, and you have this slightly better interface, maybe a little bit better. I'm not really sure. Now, I'm not selling it hard, but you can get a 7-day free trial. And like I said, ask questions over there. I'm going to put in a prompt. We'll get started with a prompt since I've been just talking for a while, and then I'll answer some questions. So let's do this. Create 10 blog post titles about, let's do, I think I did a sourdough bread topic area. So we'll do sourdough bread and see what it comes up with. So then we'll pop over here, and this is the head-to-head. So here's the chat bot over here in the playground, and I'll put in the same exact prompt and see what we find. Click submit, and you can see it started giving us an answer very quickly here. So timing is something. So we have Jasper over here. So sourdough bread, a fresh take on a classic, the easiest beginner's guide, crafting delicious sourdough, exploring the health benefits, easy recipes, tips and tricks, discovering the origins, how to achieve perfectly crispy crusts. It's a tough one to say. With every bakery style loaf, unleash your inner baker with these artisanal sourdough recipes and decadent desserts featuring homemade sourdough. So the good thing here, I read them all out. There's very little repetition. There's some that could have common topic areas, but I don't see any here that are essentially rephrased and redundant. So pop over here to the playground area, and let's see. So we have the rise of sourdough bread, comprehensive guide, uncommon tips, sourdough recipes, science, unlocking the secrets of sourdough, sourdough 101, visual tour, different varieties, and the benefits. So again, we don't see too many that are like straight up repetition, but like sourdough 101 and then an overview and a comprehensive guide. Those are probably pretty close. And one thing that you can do with ChatGPT, and we'll see if we could do it here, is just say, give me 10 more, and just see what happens if you want to get a couple more ideas. And then here we'll be able to see if there's repetition between the first 10, the second 10, and the quality. Surely we'd be able to get 20 ideas. So we'll pop in here, and then I'll hop over to the chat. So we have 10 more, which is great. And sourdough bread substitutions for gluten-free, sourdough back to life, creative ways, benefits of a Dutch oven, troubleshooting problems, understanding the benefits of slow fermentation, natural alternatives, sourdough into artisanal loaves, experiments, and history. Okay, so that's good. 20 total, very little repetition. Some may have similar topics, but I think generally those could stand alone. Next, we have Jasper. So we have baked to perfection, sourdough garlic bread. So sourdough 101, which we didn't have before. 5 variations, exploring different types of sourdough, reinventing everyday recipes, tips for working with yeast-free or gluten-free, how to store sourdough, life easier with easy to make freezer friendly. Okay. And then enjoying the versatility of focaccia, pizza, and other sourdough flatbreads, and then reach new heights with gourmet sourdough creations. So on this little test, I think both of them actually fared pretty well. They all, I mean, all of these 20, or I guess 40 total, they seem usable. They seem pretty good. Now, I'm going to do one follow up and then I'll answer questions in the chat. So this will be, we want to rewrite we'll say the last 10 so it's more clickable. And I'll say I want people to be very curious about reading. All right, and then I'll throw it in the playground and see what it does. And this is something that, like I said, is great with ChatGPT because there's some knowledge of the previous chats. All right. And so we'll leave that there. I'm going to come back. Let's answer some questions. And Couch says, so far can't seem to get very long output even with ChatGPT. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I know there's a continue command and there is more. Okay. So I've actually had some pretty long outputs. I'm not sure how long, but what I've found is if it stops in the middle, you could just say, please continue with the answer or continue or whatever, and then it'll just keep going. Sometimes has been relatively rare. It will just error out and then I have to like restart the chat window, which is a little annoying, but I think, currently it is a free tool and there's a lot of people that are able to use it. So when it goes to paid, which it will eventually happen, then maybe there'll be less of a load. And there is actually a wait list, I think, or at least a list where they're letting people, I think, pay and they're unleashing it a little bit more. And I just reloaded while I was talking and there was an update yesterday. So maybe that's part of it. But here we have, they've upgraded the ChatGPT model with improved factuality and mathematical capabilities. And that was yesterday, January 30th. So now we're sort of back in business here so that we can use, I guess, all three to see how it goes. So let's answer some questions before we come back and see these rewritten titles. So Joe says, what's the best way to ask ChatGPT to make an outline of an article and then ask it to rewrite each section and then combine it? So basically, that's all you have to do. Like, it's literally, and I'll show you in a second. So that's the thing with the chat is you just ask it, say, like, come up with an article title, write a detailed outline, write paragraph 1, write paragraph 2, and so on. And then, I mean, you can combine it on your own. The issue that Couch mentioned and other people, I mean, basically, like if you have, let's say it's a very long, detailed article, and you have 2,500 words, you may have a hard time getting the full output in one block. So you might have to take each section and get paragraph 1, paste it, paragraph 2, paste it over, and just do it that way and just combine it yourself. Now, I think probably when it becomes a paid version, then you probably will be able to get longer outputs and you could get the whole thing right there. I suspect that's what's going to happen. And Marky, what's going on? Tig says ChatGPT is a good assistant if you can use it with your creativity. All right. Okay. And Nicole says if it's bogged down, here's the topic. So, is there going to be any way for us inputters of AI to make money? I feel like there's a market out there, but I can't put my finger on it. I think when you say inputters of AI, what do you mean? I think there's definitely, I'll take advantage of my other camera angle over here since I have it. I think at this point in time, the AI tools can probably help you do things better, faster, easier. So I think it's like whatever you're doing, you can come up with ways to use it. I think there could be an opportunity, and I've seen this on some YouTube channels that I've been watching. Basically, people that there's this one individual, I may reach out to him just to hear his story, but his channel was like blowing up. A lot of his videos were coming up. They're good. You know, he's spending time using ChatGPT. And I could tell he was a YouTuber, but he had a brand new channel all about AI. He only had a handful of videos and he was getting a lot of views. His channel was growing and he was, doing the right things. He created an info product pretty quickly. He had an email list. He wasn't too aggressive about like trying to sell. He was just like, I'm putting out a lot of content. Maybe every fourth video or something, he'll have some kind of call to action. So I think it was a good ratio. I recently saw something on his community post on his channel, and he was like, this is amazing. Like I'm hitting like 1 million views a month, and I never thought it was possible. And it like happened fast, like within a month. I mean, his channel must be 6 weeks old max, something like that. Maybe a little bit more, but not much. And in the post, he said, this is my 5th YouTube channel. He's been doing it for like about 10 years. He's had a YouTube channel, I think it was 2012. So the point being, he's capitalizing now, but he put in a lot of reps earlier. That said, I think in the short term, it's people that like John Gillum, one of the founders of Originality AI. He had stuff in place and he's like, oh, I actually have a need. He has some content agency, or at least he was associated with some content agencies in the past. He's like, we had a need to check for plagiarism. Now we need to check for AI, and we're trying to figure it out. It was actually a need in their business, and he knows that if his business needs it, then other people need it too. So he's gone like kind of that route, so he can kind of monetize it quickly because he has stuff in place already. For, other people, the inputters, as you say, which I'll wait for your definition, maybe there's something, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's so wild west and volatile right now, it's hard to put your finger on it. All right, Joe says, I asked my lecturer to test the content of a research proposal assignment that could have been used for an assignment for a third-year law student. I put in the info, and the lecturer passed it with 74%. I put it into ChatGPT, and the lecturer passed it with 74%. The lecturer was shocked that it was written by AI. This thing is super powerful. Yep, and I've heard some people doing like one-off tests like that where they're like, oh, could ChatGPT pass a, some writing assignment or writing test or some kind of a test, a written test for graduate level coursework? And I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. It means a lot of the tests are like recall and not necessary, like the us humans, we need to like add value in some capacity. So I think that was it. Okay. Nicole says the magic of working with AI is the human ability to be creative with the prompts, and that is a skill, prompting. Yep. And I remember, I guess it was last week, someone, I guess the term now prompt engineer or prompt engineering is what people say. But yes, and I think like as I've watched a handful of YouTube videos, and I'll show you all a prompt that I got from a YouTube video. I don't have the link or the credit, but I was like, oh, this is cool. So like many things, right? We'll get some idea, we'll get some starting point, and then we'll maybe grab some ideas from other places, put those together along with our own idea, and then we have something pretty interesting. So I haven't published the video yet. I'm trying to remember if I even recorded it yet. But you know what? It's within the course, I think. The course area, the free resources is free. So you can hop over here. There's a link in the description. But basically, I have a background in project management. So I know how to do project management stuff. But if you don't have that background, and by the way, you could fill it in for whatever skill you're trying to understand, you can ask questions about it. So I was like, I want to create a team. I want the team to be able to do this. Here's the roles I think. Are there any other roles? What would those people do? Write a job listing for that role that I could put on Upwork. And it was probably 90% correct. So you could do that sort of thing. The point being, understanding how to get the best data out for what you're trying to do is definitely a skill. And the more you do it, the more you understand, and then you layer on top, just like anything else, more and more skills. All right. And Proto says, ask ChatGPT for help creating a prompt, and it works great. Yep, that's perfect. And Joe says, I'm just concerned that AI content for blog posts will eventually be flagged by Google, but it will be interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, I think Google's already come out, maybe not explicitly against ChatGPT content or anything like that, but they're like, we want people to write this stuff. So that's the general idea, which is ironic. It'll be even more. Well, it's ironic because Google, I assume it's some sort of AI situation, but Google takes the information from our blog post and then puts it at the top so people don't have to click over. And largely, I mean, they have a lot of data. And my Google home device in the other room, whenever I say Google, it hears me, it's always listening. It's kind of far away too. Okay, so let's hop back. We'll look at some of the revised titles that ChatGPT told us about in Jasper too. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT to rewrite the last 10 so it's more clickable. So we went from baked to perfection, making sourdough garlic bread, to garlic bread with a sourdough twist, baked to perfection. So, nothing crazy, just rephrasing it so it's a little more clickable. Let's look at not all of them this time, but number 7 was how to store your homemade sourdough for maximum freshness. And this is the rewritten one is ensure your homemade goodness stays fresher for longer with these essential storage tips. So rephrased it. And the thing is, with titles, it's good to just get sort of a brainstorm and a lot of ideas. Maybe it's not perfect, but maybe you can mix and match a few. Now, we'll take a look over at the playground, and they rewrote them. Looks like, similar quality. So we'll just look at one. So adding flavor with natural alternatives to store-bought yeast. Changes to add flavor to sourdough with natural yeast alternatives. So they kind of they just rephrased it. So not as sexy as you would have thought, but let's do this because ChatGPT is now up, and Raul is panicking. Raul is losing his mind over here. So it's okay, buddy. You say ChatGPT is down. Do you know the fix? No, you just have to be patient. And Raul says it's showing inaccessible. Do you know a solution? So basically, what you can do two things. One, you can go over to your normal OpenAI account, so openai.com, log in, and then go to the playground, and then go to chat. It is not the same as ChatGPT, but it'll be pretty good. If you have a Jasper account, you can go over to chat in the beta, which is the whole theme for today, to test all these three together. Now, let's see what ChatGPT does with the same prompts. And my hunch is we're probably going to end up with something really similar, but I'm going to also do who was asking about it? Oh, Joe was asking about writing a post. So I'll show you a couple things. I have a video that shows you how to write a blog post. So be sure to subscribe to my channel. Go look at the recent videos. There's, I think, like 3 with ChatGPT, and I show you exactly what to do for writing a blog post. I mention it in the video, and I'll mention it here. I'm not recommending that you write and publish blog posts written by ChatGPT. If you want to do that, that's cool. I don't care. But it's probably highly derivative of other content. And as someone pointed out, Google probably doesn't love that. That said, if you make some changes, if you're putting in all the input data, that's probably all right. That's all right. And yep, and Raul says, let me try again. So basically, if ChatGPT is at capacity, someone else says refresh a few times, wait a few minutes, use another tool, use the playground. That seems to work pretty well. So we have what appears to be good titles, largely the same. So this was kind of an easy one. This is where it's going to come out here in a second. And give me one moment. I see some weird stuff in my chat window, but I'm not sure why. Okay. I'll ignore that for now. Okay, so this is where it might get a little bit different. So I'm going to now ask, we'll pick number 8 here. So we'll ask all of them. So write a detailed outline for, I'll just say 8. And I'll pick different ones because crispy crust, I'm not sure if we saw that in the other ones. All right. So I'll say write a detailed outline for 2. And we'll see what we come up with, see if it can handle it. Okay, so we're getting an outline here with ChatGPT. We're getting an outline here with the chat with DaVinci 3. We'll hop back here and we'll do this one. Write a detailed outline for number 4. I'm just picking arbitrarily. It's not completely arbitrary. I was slightly interested. Nicole says, are you taking a time test relying on ChatGPT? That's funny. Okay, Fruitbat Cat. I'm wondering what Raul can get from ChatGPT for his test that he couldn't get from Google. I'm a whole long time since I took any test. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so here we are with ChatGPT. We see a pretty solid outline. And I don't know how big of a deal it is to write detailed outline, but like we have everything we need. This is going to be 8 paragraphs at a minimum, or at least 8 topic areas. Hopping over to the playground. So outline for sourdough substitutes for gluten-free bakers. So again, we see an outline. It is not. Oh, it wrote 2 outlines. Number 2. Oh, that's funny. I didn't tell. So I got 2 lists of 10. It gave me both. So it realized that I didn't ask specific enough. But this is shorter. Okay, so this is somewhat shorter than the other outline from ChatGPT. So let's look at Jasper. And we have garlic bread, sourdough twist. So again, it is a little bit shorter. It's a little bit more than the playground, but the topics may be a little bit different. So to be fair, I will ask for a detailed outline for this blog post from each of these to be fair. So I'll say I want a detailed outline for this blog post. So we can actually compare apples to apples as closely as we can. So we'll ask for that. Then we'll hop over to Jasper. None of the outlines were bad. All of them are a good starting point. ChatGPT was certainly more detailed when you look at, this outline versus the others, but we'll see what we come up with in the playground and with Jasper. All right. So same deal, over on the playground. The DaVinci 3 version of Chat gives us an outline, but it is potentially 4 paragraphs and not quite as detailed. Jasper, we end up with something even more briefer. All right, so what I'll do here, because we do have the luxury of chat, right? So I'm gonna go down and say, can you add more detail for each point? And see what Jasper does too. Okay, so now that what I think is a pretty good outline here, let's go a little bit further and just say, Is there anything missing? So is there anything missing? Can you add more detail? And it's already quite detailed, but I just want to see what we come up with. Okay, so they say, yeah, we can add more details for additional comprehensive, to make it more comprehensive. So they're adding a little bit more. So we're going fairly deep in the science between for sourdough fermentation. So it's picked a couple specific areas, and then it is adding points and detail to that specific area. And that means we can probably get the full outline written again with all the additional detail. There's actually a lot more detail now. Maybe too much detail. So let me know the questions that you have. So we're getting more and more detail here. It's insane. It's like a book level. Okay, so it's going and going and going. I asked Jasper for additional details for each point. So we did get more points. The formatting is a little messed up here, so it's a little bit harder to read. And I'll just say, hey, the formatting's messed up. Can you fix it? All right, and then in the playground, it looks like we do have so it gave me sentence form of more details. So I'll ask it to put it in the outline format. And popping back, so we have ChatGPT put even more details. So I'll say, can you incorporate the changes? Just add the changes. All right. Quick reminder, we do have this free set of resources over here. It is behind a course platform, but it is free, as it says right here. And you just need to give your name and email so I can send you login information. It is free, and won't be charging for it. So it's just free, and when I add stuff. So they kind of, over here on Jasper, they kind of fix the formatting a little bit. It's still a little bit, it's like, just put it on the next line, man. What are they doing? I don't know what's happening with that. Okay, so now we have the revised outline for the playground. And finally, ChatGPT is still writing here. So, okay, here's the next level. So we'll say, please write the intro for, or I'll say, please write, we'll say, one introduction. And I'll just say, write the paragraph. And we'll see what we end up with. So one issue here I noticed right away. So we have the maximum length here for the response as 240 characters. So it's going to be kind of short, but we end up with, whatever, 4 sentences here. This is not bad. And I can, of course, make the length longer here. And DaVinci 3 can handle up to 4,000 tokens. So I could actually make this pretty long. We'll hop over here, see what Jasper can do. So please write the introduction paragraph. Same deal. And we'll go from there. Okay, so now we have this much longer outline, right? So look at this outline versus the other two that we were just looking at. So ChatGPT is operating on a different level, really. Like this is so much more detail than the other two by probably a factor of 10. I mean, just looking at the number of bullet points here, it is a massive difference. So same deal, please write the intro paragraph. And I'll say in the style of, we'll say Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know what that'll do, but we'll see. Oh, that's a good opening. Sourdough bread. Have you heard of it? It's the bread of old timers. Okay, so that's a little more fun, a little more character. And it's going to type for a few minutes here. And we'll see. I know there is some capability for that sort of thing also. So I'll ask the playground, can you write in the style of Jerry Seinfeld? And Jasper, we'll see what we come up with. So comparing Jasper Chat Beta to the OpenAI Playground DaVinci 3, they look fairly comparable generally. The one difference that I see, which I haven't clicked the box here, but include Google search data, would make a difference there. And let's just see what the playground did. So, yep, we end up with something that's a little different in somewhat the tone of Jerry Seinfeld. Same thing for Jasper, which actually worked pretty fast here. So I would say those two are fairly comparable. Here we end up with, I would say they're about the same length, something like that. And it is in the style of Jerry Seinfeld. So we will continue on. So what we can do, to Joe's point earlier, how do you write a blog post or a piece of content? You just do it piece by piece. And at this point in time, like that is what we're dealing with. You potentially can get a little creative, but at the end of the day, like you'll be doing this, right? Then you snag the paragraph and you can go from there. You could try to ask ChatGPT to put everything together. So you just copy and paste once or group things together, save a little bit of time, but you do run the risk of it just kind of crapping out. So while we're getting all this data over here, I'm going to answer more questions in a minute here. I do need to rest my voice momentarily here. So I'm going to pop out and we'll hear from one of our sponsors, Odys Global. Brought to you by Odys Global, the source for premium age domains. These are domains that mean business, and generally these have some nice age and some great backlinks pointing to them. Today we are going to look at a Walker in LA, as in Los Angeles, and this former domain was an LA focused blog, and it covered everything from neighborhood restoration projects to the best places to get gelato. Apparently the blogger was a bit of a fan of gelato. We're going to hop over and look back at the Wayback Machine too, so I'll just display it here for a second. And there were some roundups as well for tech startups in the area. And the owner basically had a child and they got a little busy, so they decided to let it go. This domain, oh, looks like created back in 2010, so it's 13 years old. It has a domain rating of 37, a domain authority of 38, and a very brandable name with LA right there in the title. So A lot of different ways to take this one. Before we get into it too much, I do want to pause for a second and just share this Pearls and Scissors. It was a recent featured domain, and the Odys folks reached out to me and wanted to let me know why we see content here, what was going on. There were some questions about like why content was on this site. Additionally, whether or not you can like get content from Odys. So at this point, right now, when I'm recording this, Odys doesn't have any options for adding content. They're not like creating sites or anything like that. You could always partner with another group, another agency or something like that. This domain, Pearls and Scissors, is a third party that is listing on the Odys marketplace. So it's basically an age domain. It comes with the content. So there are some occasions like this one where a domain comes with content because it's being sold on the marketplace, not by Odys not by Odys directly, but by a third party. So that is a quick distinction I just wanted to point out. So back to this site, and this is a snapshot from 2014. And you can see, kind of a classic look for 2014, big sidebar, a lot of content over here, a lot of, images, and they really actually did a pretty good job. Jumping forward to 2016, you can see there's an urbanism writer and editor. There are some more pictures. So yeah, pretty well done site overall. And we'll pop over and take a look at 2020. So really the site hasn't been touched since 2016 or so. And you could take a look, see what was out there. Now we're going to hop over to Hrefs here so we can see the domain rating is 37, no organic keywords. And you can sort of see the referring pages kind of dropped off as time went on here. However, there are 227 referring domains and 195 do follow referring domains. If we look at the organic search, you can see there was traffic all the way until really close to 2017, and then it really trailed off. And if we look here, the site still actually ranks for a handful of keywords, even though there's nothing over there. And if you republished uniquely written content on those URLs, I suspect you would probably start ranking again. So we will look over quickly at some of the big referring domains. So we have, we'll actually filter on do follow. So it's just the big hitters. So we have blogger.com, New York Times, The Guardian, Huffington Post, LA Times, Gizmodo, curb.com, LA Weekly, WNYC, LO.co, and so on. So tons of very high profile, a lot of news coverage as well. So those are links that you would not be able to recreate very easily, and you definitely wouldn't be able to have the age on them like this domain has. Okay, before we finish up here, you can check it out over on Odys Global. They do have a lot of filtering mechanisms, a lot of different domains if you're not interested in this one particularly, but I can point out a couple things that you can do with this domain. There are a lot of like tour companies, walking food tours, other essentially like tourist oriented tours where people go to LA, they're trying to find something to do, they want to go on some organized outing. You can partner with companies like that for referral commissions, basically. So it's an affiliate model, but it's based in the real world, not all on internet. You also could review local bars and restaurants and cafes. So if you lived in LA, or if you're just a big fan and you travel there every now and then, you could have a really fun time going to places that you want to go to anyway, documenting, taking pictures. Again, this site has a ton of great pictures just in general. You could tell the person was getting out there, eating gelato, that sort of thing. You can interview people that business owners that you like. You can really, make it locally focused. So again, we have about 195 referring domains that are do follow. Looks like 162 now that I checked the do follow. So worth checking out. Thanks a lot to Odys Global. You can join using my affiliate link, and you'll get $100 in your account. And basically, if you buy anything, I might get a commission, which I really appreciate. So check it out, and thanks to Odys. A little bit, and I'm not sure, am I even worse out of focus now? I'm trying to figure out where I think I need to be moved. Yeah, even worse out of focus now. I thought I was going to fix it up. So anyway, we'll answer some questions here. We'll hop back, check out the last little bit from the various tools that we're checking out. And if you're just catching this now, you're coming in late. We basically used Jasper Chat, the beta version, OpenAI's Playground based on GPT-3 and DaVinci 3, and then ChatGPT started working again, so I was able to get some prompts from there. And what I see is basically the Playground Chat and Jasper Chat are roughly equivalent. I mean, you can see very similar type of output. The quality is similar. It works pretty good. And if you look at ChatGPT, I think I said it's maybe like 10 times more detailed and seems to be just a little bit better as far as an interface. If I was comparing, I'm shooting myself in the foot as far as commissions from an affiliate standpoint. But if I look at the Playground and OpenAI chat versus Jasper Chat, it's the same thing. You're just paying a huge premium to use the interface, which we all saw it here. The interface is not much different. There's like less options for Jasper, which may like feel better, but it's roughly the same. So let me hop back over to the chat. We'll answer some questions here. All right. Robin's in from Denver. It's very cold here today. I mentioned in the chat it was like -5 when I woke up. It's like Fahrenheit. It's very chilly. I think that's like -20 or so Celsius. It's very cold. Very cold. So walked Georgie just a little bit today. Wasn't too bad. And Raul says that ChatGPT is 10 times better and faster than Google or anything else. Very reliable. I ask it to fill in the blanks and choose the right options and clearly get an answer without getting confused like Google. So it sounds like Raul is cheating on a test. So I don't recommend that generally. Okay. And Spencer's on. Spencer asked some cool questions via email. You can shoot me an email, feedback@doug.show. I have a podcast, so if you ask a question, the answer will be in a podcast. So you can't be lazy and try to just catch the short version on YouTube. You gotta listen to the whole podcast. All right, and Tony's on. What's going on, Tony? I think I sent you an email. Like you sent me one with an update. I think I replied back. Got to be honest, email has been piling up, and I'm doing a great job ignoring it. So I answer back quick for some stuff and slower for others. Couch says, when you use your transcript in ChatGPT and started ranking well with it, that same week I copied your transcripts and put it in ChatGPT just to test it. Cool. And I think like that's an interesting use case, right? So I'll put a little bit more detail in the free course resource area that I've mentioned before, but I was trying to, figure out how to use some of these tools to get better show notes for the podcast, maybe better descriptions for YouTube. So I was trying to look at some of the tools that are out there to create show notes, summarize them a little bit better, and then do it fast, right? So I have an assistant that can go through and listen and create the notes, but it's not really necessary, even to listen at 2x speed, it's not really necessary to do that. So the idea is get some general show notes, ask ChatGPT to summarize and make it shorter. And then, like, instead of whatever, just making it up, instead of like 4 paragraphs, make it 4 sentences. So you have to leave some stuff out, but that's okay for show notes generally. And then from there, you end up saving a huge amount of time. You could also get a transcript from a YouTube video and just say, summarize this. And then let's say it's an hour-long live stream. Then you can get the broad points. It's going to miss some stuff. A pure transcript from YouTube is, it's tough. You know, it doesn't have punctuation. There are weird pauses that people do when they're talking, especially for a live stream. So you could end up with some kind of weird stuff in there, but generally you can get a broad idea. And so Spencer asked about project management, asking myself, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay. And Tony says, I'll find and if I didn't email you, then I started drafting it and forgot to send it or something like that. So, and Spencer also mentions that then ICE is a blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize. Okay. So Spencer was listening maybe to old podcasts because I may have talked about Georgia in the present tense if I was visiting, perhaps. Also, I don't remember. There's a lot of episodes. Who knows what I said? But I started the podcast when I was I think I was in Montana. Yeah, I was in Montana and then moved pretty quickly to Colorado. Some of the early blog posts are out of Georgia, so there could be references there. All right. And to quickly summarize, I know what Spencer's talking about. He sent me an email about like some project management ideas for people that are working on the side. And he thinks project management is a weakness for him, so I could fill in some gaps perhaps. And Spencer mentions at work we've been swapping over to ChatGPT for our use cases. Due to its detail, you have to get a good prompt, or you have to get good at prompt engineering to get the good stuff. Yep. So that is one thing where like you sort of get to the starting point and then you can get more detail. And you know what? I'll show everyone something. It's, since you hung around for this long, whether you're watching it live or in the replay, if you hung around for this long. So here's one thing. So we have our, just going to make sure we're on this window. So I'll say, I want to hire a writer. So I'm telling ChatGPT, I want to hire a writer from Upwork to write this article. Can you create a job posting? Okay, so here is where we're not, of course it crashes here. Here's where we're not using ChatGPT to write content to rank in Google, which could be problematic. I'm guessing in the extremely near future. I mean, we can already see examples where AI content has AI content has been able to get a lot of views, grow websites really quickly, and then it gets penalized or loses rankings in some capacity. Okay, I'm going to have to type this again. Okay. So we end up with the job description, the responsibilities, and it's going to be 95% correct. Sure, you're going to tweak it a little bit. Maybe you don't need someone who is super knowledgeable. Maybe you want someone who is extremely knowledgeable. But here's a job posting so you don't have to write it. That saves a huge amount of time if you've never hired anyone before. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And like normal, like everyone's saying, getting good at the prompts is a skill, but as you get better and better, it goes a long way. So I'll also say, okay, so I'll ask for 5 alternate titles for the job posting. So just to have more options, right? Like it doesn't matter that much maybe, but you can treat the job listing like a blog post title or like a podcast title. So we have 5 alternate titles. We could pick the one that fits best. We could test whatever. Okay. The other thing I'll show you, so this is something that I can't remember the creator, but I'll probably link up to him shortly. So I'm going to copy this text. So this is paragraph 2. I clicked over to another chat. So the instructions here, and this is, again, I may have to find it here pretty quick, but here's some instructions for a prompt. So it says, I want to make improvements to the text. So I say, create a table with 7 suggestions to improve certain text. And I want to have numbers in the table. And then after the table, I wanted to say, what improvements do you want me to make? Pick one from the table. If you understand the task, then say, I understand and I'm ready for the text. Don't create the table yet. And then when you print the table, add a column that shows the change log. So we can, and I put in some information here. So I'll tell it I want to insert new text to improve. Okay, so I'll just make sure it knows that I'm going to put in some new stuff. So I'll just put in text equals, and then I'll paste in the paragraph that we wrote in the other chat. And then it should give me 7 suggestions for how to improve it. Hopefully. And then I'll say display the table. It should have displayed the table. So I'll tell it to display the table with the improvements. All right, so it'll give us 7 ideas to improve the text that we just put in here, and I can gauge, exactly what we want to do here, if I want to include that kind of stuff or not. So if I want to update things or whatever. All right. So I'm gonna go back over while it's typing this out. And Couch says, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, people hit the thumbs up. We have 19, which is not bad considering how many people showed up. Spencer mentions there was a random interview with someone that lived nearby previously. Yep. There's a couple people. It's probably Marty McLeod, most likely. And more like Crash GPT. Am I right? Yeah, that's pretty good. Couch says, is it important to be polite to ChatGPT? I notice people say please and so forth. I don't think so. It doesn't matter. As I was typing, One of those, I think I had extra words in there and I was like, it doesn't matter. I could just say, like, do this, do that. Of course, at times it will be very important to put in additional details and context, but generally, like, you could say it as blunt as you want to do. Adrian says, you just read that an AI detector from OpenAI got released. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. And it's called, I guess, classifier. Spencer says, why is it so easy to overlook so many use cases of this? So focused on writing content, but this little mini personal assistant. Yeah, this is a mini personal assistant. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where, people in this specific um, area, this subculture of like writing content online, that's what people are thinking of. But you could easily flip it around and then you're improving content, right? You write the content, and I'm going to come back to Nicole's question to wrap it up. On a scale from 1 to 10, how enjoyable is writing with AI compared to writing on your own? Uh, Not very enjoyable. So I'm writing a blog post over on dougcunnington.com, which I'll publish by the end of this week. It's about sleep and like what I've done to improve my sleep over the last probably 18 months or so. And what I'm going to do is probably, write a rough draft, just a rough cut, get it out of my brain. I'll probably go through, make another pass, like a normal editing pass that I would do just to self edit. And then there's a strong chance I will use something similar to what I've done right here with getting suggestions from ChatGPT on how to improve it. So some of the suggestions on what I just put in. So explain the history of sourdough bread making. And this didn't do exactly what I wanted because it's putting in a change log that has not been implemented yet. But we end up with some things that we could put in there to make it better. So there's a good chance I'll use ChatGPT to improve what I've already done. So instead of coming up with the ideas and the outline and the main set of content, I'll use it to make my writing better. And I could, ignore some of the suggestions. Maybe there's certain areas where I read it and I'm like, I know that's not as good as it could be. What can I do to make it better? What can I do in many cases, especially the article that I'm writing now? I'm probably only like halfway done with it. It's 1,500 words. So for me, I know I need to say it more concisely. I probably rambled on. I could probably like when I go through and read it myself again, I'll probably see things that are redundant and then I can remove those. So it's not super enjoyable writing with AI, but it probably depends on what you're writing. So I'm writing something that I care about, that is personal experience, and it doesn't really make much sense to have AI write about it. And one of the weird things, which you may be able to control, but when I was testing this text improvement table situation in that prompt, it said, you should put it in a personal anecdote. It'll be more interesting. And I said, hey, put in a personal anecdote. And it just makes something up. It just, like out of nowhere, it just makes something up. The better way to do it, of course, is say, hey, put in a personal anecdote about this certain thing. But maybe, right? There's no reason I can't tell ChatGPT in this prompt, if you're inserting an anecdote, prompt me and ask me what is a personal anecdote that fits here. I don't want to make one up. So you could tell it what to do also, which is interesting. So yeah, writing your own stuff, way better. At the end of the day, like it's not like this for everyone, but if you somewhat enjoy writing, then when you write and you spend a couple hours on it, even if it's not perfect, you're like, oh, that was kind of fun. Like I feel refreshed from writing that versus whatever, um, clicking around and watching a bunch of reels or TikTok or whatever. Like you're gonna feel better about writing content than like scrolling through social media, for example. All right. I think that's it for today. Thanks everybody for hopping on. Don't forget you can get the free resources that I talked about and mentioned a couple times. There's a link in the description. There is a link if you want to check out Jasper. There's a free trial. I'm an affiliate, so I'd get a commission if you sign up. But I also told you that you know it's a tough sell nowadays with what OpenAI has available for you in the playground. I'm not sure there's a lot of value you get from using the Jasper templates for the specific stuff that I've been trying to do. So that's it for today. And we'll catch you next week.